Alright, let's get into this. So, A is an excellent letter. It's the very first letter, so they had to go all out for this one, and it is amazing, alright? It has its own word, and the word's like actually useful. People use it every single day. It is absolutely stellar. They gave it every buff possible. It's part of the big three. It's actually the first letter. It's a vowel. Like the developers went crazy with this letter. It's definitely an easy S tier. Okay, so B is next. Honestly, B is a pretty good letter. I really like B. Um, it's part of the big three, so that gives it some extra bonus points. And honestly, it's got a nice ring to it, like b b b b b b b b b b B. It's nice. Um, my only gripe with it is that it has the same pronunciation as the insect, so I think I think it's gonna go into A tier. It's a pretty good letter. All right, next up is C, and some people really like C, and I've never really understood it because everything that C can do can just be replaced by S and K, which I know were later additions, but like even still, it kind of makes C obsolete. Like it's part of the big three, so it gets like some bonus points, but I honestly think it's a D tier. Like it's just not that incredible of a letter. I don't know. All right, so next up is D, and I may be a little bit biased, but I think this is a really good letter. It does sometimes get confused with B, but thankfully the developers added in the phrase B as in boy and D as in dog, which means that it kind of clears up a lot of the confusion, and they can't really do anything beyond that because it's just fundamental to how the letters sound. And it also makes a nice noise, like duh, duh, duh. I like that. That's a nice noise. So I think it's either gonna be high A or maybe S tier. I think it's gonna go into S tier. I really like the letter. It's good. So the next letter's E. It's our second vowel, and honestly, it's a pretty cool letter. Its gimmick is that if there's one E, it makes an eh sound like in Fred, but if there's two E's, it makes an E sounds like a Creed or Freed or something like that. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I think it's gonna go into A tier. Pretty solid letter. Alright, so the first letter out of the first five is F, and it's a pretty unique letter. I think the developers did a really good job with this one. It's got a nice sound to it. That's nice. I like that sound. It's also gotten some use in slang, because if you put F, usually accompanied by off or you, it's actually shorthand for the swear word. So kids, don't go saying that to your parents, alright? F is definitely going to go into S tier. I really like this letter. It's a personal favorite of mine. Next letter is G, and I think G's a bit of an interesting letter. The G sound is pretty. Alright, so the next letter is G. It's a pretty interesting letter. The G sound does allow for a bit of a mix up, but I don't really have any positive or negative feelings towards it, so I think it's gonna go into B tier because it does still have a nice sound, but it's not as cool as any of these letters up here. Alright, next letter is gonna be H, and honestly, this is an easy S tier. Like, it just pairs so well with so many letters. Like, it pairs with C, T, S. It pairs with G. It's an amazing letter. Pairs so well. It's not really that good on its own, but with these, like, four letters, it actually is amazing. I'm gonna move C up to C tier just because of ch, because that's such a nice sound. I absolutely adore ch. Alright, so next letter is J, and I think that J is a really unique letter. There is one other way to recreate its sound, and that's with GI, like Giano, but I still think that J, in many cases, is just a much better and cooler use than GI. And it makes a lot more sense as well, because you wouldn't misinterpret it as Giano or anything like that. The J just makes the solid J sound, nothing else. K is essentially if you just took the hard C and made it into a letter, and it's just 10 times less confusing than C is for new players, so I think I'm going to have to put it at least in B tier. Probably above G, actually. Yeah, that feels about right. Alright, next is L, and honestly, L is an easy S tier. It's such a cool letter that people will sometimes just smack two of them at the end of a word for, like, no reason. Like, even though one would have sufficed, they're just like, nah, we need two L's. It's just that cool of a letter. So, I think it's an easy S tier. The sound is nice, it's nicely designed, easy to write. What isn't there to love? M is another pretty solid letter. Honestly, all of the letters in LMNOP are all pretty good. M is actually such a used letter that it's become the noise used for when you are really enjoying food. So I think that gives it some bonus points. I think it's gonna go high A, honestly. Actually, we're gonna move L. Yeah, L's gonna go ahead of H. And then I'm gonna put J there, E at the back. Alright. Yeah, that feels good. N is a pretty good letter, honestly. N and M do get confused sometimes for each other. They are honestly kind of like brothers. I don't blame anyone for getting confused by them. N is pretty good though. Honestly, N and M are like basically in the same place on the tier list, but I like N a little bit more, so it's gonna go highest in A. Now, I know that I said that LMNOP were all pretty solid letters, but I think O is probably the worst letter on this list so far. It's the most useless of the vowels, and it doesn't really have any redeeming qualities like C, so I'm thinking it's gonna go in. I think it's gonna be our first letter in F tier. It's a bad apple in a really solid bunch. It's not even like an awful vowel either. It's just I think everything that it does can just be replaced by U. Like take to do, for example. What's stopping you from replacing the O in there with a U? Nothing. So I think O is just kind of useless. Okay, actually thinking about it, O does have the sound when it's at like the beginning of a word, like Oscar. So it's gonna go into D tier, but it's barely hanging on there. P is gonna be an easy S tier, okay? The p sound is just too satisfying. It's honestly, it's gonna go above L actually, because not only does it have a nice design, it sounds nice. It's used quite a bit, and like apple, which is one of the most popular words of all time, probably. So, very solid letter. 10 out of 10. Actually, it's gonna go above F. Q is a very weird letter. It's always paired with U to make like a qu sound, but that can just be replaced with K and W next to each other. So the combination is kind of useless, and that's all Q is really used for. I mean, in other languages, like QUE makes like a K sound, which does make it actually useful. But in English, it's kind of just bad. R is a great letter in all honesty. I'm a big fan of R. I think it's gonna go A tier. It can just kind of be put anywhere really. Like if you just need a R sound, it's there. It fits really well, really no matter what word it is. Okay, like BR fits, MR fits, NR fits. Every letter works with it. I think S is going to go into S tier just because of its use for pluralizing words. Like if you want to pluralize essentially any word, you just add an S to the end of it, okay? There are some words which are weird, like geese and geese, but that's not really S's fault, that's more so the developer's fault for making such strange words instead of just using the tool that they had right there. There is one gripe that I have with S, and that is the sps sound, like in Lisps. I hate that. It sounds strange. It's not nearly enough to bring it out of S tier, but it is definitely one of the worst sounds in the language. T is another nice letter. It just has a nice ring to it. The t t t t t t t. Just it's nice. It goes well in a lot of things. It's very simple. I'll put it high B. U is a nice letter. The shape can sometimes be confused with V, but if you're paying enough attention, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think it's B. It's B. It's not incredible, but as a vowel, it does do its job. V is next, and honestly, V is where the developers decided to start getting cool with their letters. Like, X, Z, V, all of those are just, they exude cool energy. So I think just based off of that, it gets to go in at least B tier. And it's just a nice letter in general. It has a nice sound. I don't know if it's as good as A tier, honestly. I think it's gonna go into B tier, and I think I'm gonna move J down to here. The rest of this seems fine though. We'll come back to W. X. X is a pretty solid letter, and a lot like V, it exudes cool energy. Unfortunately, it's just not used that much. I really wish that it was used more. I want to love X, it just doesn't have as many use cases. It's going above C in C tier, but it's just not used enough to make to have me like it. Y is a nice letter. It's essentially an honorary vowel, and it also makes basically every adverb in existence possible, so I think just on those merits, it goes at the top of A tier. Now, ordinarily, we would save Z for last, but, so Z is a pretty cool letter as well. Again, a lot like X, it just doesn't get used that much. These letters at the end are really cool, really unique, but they just don't have that many use cases, so I think it's gonna have to go next to X here. Like, tell me one word that starts with Z and isn't zebra. Like, do it right now in the comments. Go into the comments and type out a word that starts with Z and is not zebra. Alright, now lastly we have W. W as a letter is actually pretty good. The name, though. Why? Why? Why is it called W? This has been on my mind for the past years. This is the only reason why I made this video, because W does not make sense as a name. Every other letter in the alphabet follows a pattern, okay? You have D, like you have the letter, and then you have like E's after it. Or in F's case, you have E, and then you have the letter after it. But W just decides to be like 15 syllables for no reason! Why? Who decided to make W as its name? Here's the thing, it actually had a good name before. It was what, I think it was what. It was either what or it was we. It had a good name before, and they decided to change it for no reason. W is awful. W, it goes here. It goes in hell. I hate W. I hate it. I hate W so much. As a letter, I mean, it'd probably go into like B tier or something. It's pretty good. But the name, why? Alright, the finished tier list is on screen now. If you want to make the tier list yourself, go into the description, and if you just skip to the end to see the finished tier list, you should skip to the timestamp on screen right now. That's the only important part in the video. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I might make one on the Greek alphabet. Thanks for watching.